All right, everyone, we are here with a breakdown video on Mojo. Now, we all know he's a pain on defense, but I will be doing this video with the point of view of attack. So let's get right into it. All right, so where we're going to start this video is with his SIG ability, and it's not to discuss this big fury that he gets at 5 million followers, but it's to explain his persistent charges between his subscribers and his followers. So duped, he will start with 1 million subscribers, which is 1 persistent charge, and he can have up to 5 million subscribers, which is 5 persistent charges. If he's duped, he will start the fight with as many followers as he has subscribers. So if he had 2 subscribers, then he's got, or 2 million subscribers, then he's gonna start with 2 follower passive buffs, which you'll see later. When he wins a fight with more followers than subscribers, he will add to his subscribers. So the next fight he'll go, if he started at 1, he'll go to 2. If he loses a fight, he'll lose subscribers. So we're going to take a look at what that looks like. So we'll take a look at what subscribers and followers look like. So we're going to wait till this, boom, we'll freeze here. So that persistent charge up there, that's the subscribers. This thumbs up orange buff, which is passive, that's his followers. And then the purple buff there that says dash backwards, that's the prompt. So just to give you guys a look of what you're looking for. All right, so that purple passive buff, the prompt, that's basically an audience telling Mojo or the other champion what to do. So either champion can complete it. If the prompt doesn't get completed within the time it's active, then it's considered failed and Mojo loses followers from that. But followers won't drop below his subscriber number. So if he was unduped, he actually has 0 subscribers. So a failed prompt would drop it down to 0, assuming there were more or less than 5 followers at the time. If they complete the prompt, either champion, then Mojo goes into anti-life, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. Once anti-life is done, another prompt will come up. Prompts and anti-life field are both paused during special attacks. All right, so a quick look at succeeding a prompt and then failing a prompt. So this is going to drop from 5 to 2 because my persistent charge number is 2. All right, so anti-life field, this is where the fun happens. Again, we're coming from the point of view of attack, so fun. Any buffs triggered during anti-life field have a 90% reduced duration, which is huge. Mojo doesn't really have a nullify outside of his SP1, and even then it's only 1 buff. So this is kind of a roundabout way of nullifying. Anytime a buff is nullified or expired, then they get a degen. That damage does scale with modified attack. And same thing as I said earlier, anti-life is paused during special attacks. So Mojo gains additional passive abilities depending on how many followers he has at the time. At 1, any buff that expires regens 3% of the missing health. At 3, he starts gaining power anytime he completes a prompt. And at 5, that's when the big damage starts coming. Hater buff is automatically placed on a champion. So even if a champion doesn't have any buffs, Mojo creates buffs so that the degen's still there. And then if you recall earlier with the SIG ability at 5 million, the damage increases significantly because of the big fury buff from his signature ability. So this is really where the damage starts ramping up. So taking a look at all that, we're going to slow this short fight down. So everything that's going on here, you're going to have a buff expire. You have the hater buff because we're at 5 million followers and a prompt was activated. You have the regen there from the buff expiring, so the 3%. And Juggernaut's going to throw an SB1 here. And while we're in anti-life and it's paused because a special attack is getting thrown, that unstoppable is just going to disappear almost immediately and turn into a degen passive. So this is all that really happens when Mojo's at 5 followers, and you could see the application for something like Footloose here. And then just a quick look at 3 followers and the power gain from succeeding a prompt. And then Mojo has a list of possible prompts you might see in an attack. The only thing I can say is get used to these, practice Mojo, and familiarize yourself with what they look like in case you miss the wording mid-fight on what to do. Some of them use the same purple passive buff. Special attacks, I told you the SB1 nullifies one buff, and then the SB2, that's the big one. Here, you're going to place degen for each number of followers you have, and like I said, the degen scales with modified attack, so this is where your big damage is. However, it won't place more than 5, so it's maxed out at 5 million followers. So if you have 7 million followers, it's not going to be 7 degens. And then SB3 does pretty much the same thing SB2 does, but if there's a prompt that hasn't been succeeded and is still active, when you throw SB3, it automatically counts that prompt. So SB3 is good when you think there's a scenario where, let's say you're fighting a stun immune and the stun prompt shows up and you don't want to lose the momentum you've got going. Then you throw SB3 and boom, you've activated that prompt. One thing to keep in mind is that at the top there, a heavy attack does alternate the prompt or switch the prompt when you land a heavy attack. So if you end up with one that you're not thinking you're going to get, or it comes close and you're not going to be able to bait it out at like a special attack, then throwing a heavy is a good way to change the prompt without losing the followers. All right, so now we're going to take a look at Mojo in this fight. Storm doesn't have any buffs, so this isn't like a lopsided fight to Mojo. If anything, it's going to be bottom of the barrel when it comes to buffs, but he started with 5 subscribers here, so he's been ramped, so we had 5 million followers. So the first prompt that's activated, we get pushed to 6 million followers, but you're seeing all the damage. We've got the big Fury, we've got the degen that's being modified with the Fury and the attack. You've got hater buffs coming left and right, so even though Storm didn't have buffs, we're placing buffs, and MD 3 to 5, and you'll just be cycling SB2s like crazy. Man-Thing kind of falls in the same scenario here, where once the buffs get rolling, then the special attacks just come. So she's just melting with degen, and these numbers are just absolutely aggressive. So this is where the fun comes in with Mojo. You just pretty much melt opponents. It's not a big deal that he doesn't nullify, because as long as it's not a buff with some outrageous timer, it's gone in seconds, and it immediately turns into damage for Mojo. So you could sit back and just watch this fight, which I am going to show you a scenario where that does happen, and the defender just melts. So sometimes MD pushes you to SB3, not a big deal at all either. I like just throwing it immediately in a fight where I know I'm not going to have issues activating prompts, just to lay on more degen. So yeah, down she goes. And then here's a scenario where you just don't have to do that much. Angelo's got a lot of buffs and is hard to nullify because of her SIG ability. Here, once you get the anti-life going and you get her regen buffs going, it's just rolling degen per se. So as long as you make sure anti-life is up for most of the fight, then every time she gets a health buff, boom. And then you start throwing SB2s with a Fury, and it just starts rolling and rolling and rolling. You pretty much stay in one anti-life field for most of the fight. Now, this is an ramped Mojo, so it's us fighting to get to 5 followers and actually get the Fury to do enough damage to get it rolling. But you can see here, even without that Fury, she just melts from degen. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope that gave you some insight to Mojo on attack. I will see you guys later.